2022 Ram 1500 Classic with a 5.7 liter Hemi. Not bad. And some quick specs about this one. Again, 5.7 liter Hemi pushing 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. And since it's a truck, it has 4x4 or 4-wheel drive. And we have a nice good 6 inches of screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and not gonna lie, this thing does kind of look nice. This is what our key looks like. Very simple stuff, but you don't need to be too over the top with a truck that looks like this. Like, look at the size of this thing. That's a regular size car, and this is this monster. Big, beautiful truck, beautiful vents. I just like the way Ram has made their trucks. Have they changed too much? No, not really. But they look good in every way, shape, and form. And yes, I am wearing red. Well, my only red t-shirt to try and match this car, this truck. And from down here, you can hear the slight idle of the V8. But the nice thing is that even though this one does have remote start, it is somewhat of a base model since we don't have all the extra features. But cloth seats all around, decent amount of leg room and space as well. Hopping inside, you can tell that even if we do turn on our remote start, because our fuel is somewhat low, the remote start will not engage so you don't walk up to a truck that is empty on gas, because that would be kind of awkward. But anyway, let's get a quick little feel for this car. We're in a public park, so we're not going to be revving it to get a good exhaust note check, but you guys already know how the 5.7 liter Hemi sounds like. This thing sounds magnificent. And yes, for those wondering, you do feel like a bully when you're driving a truck this big. Everything on the road is smaller than you. You take turns a little bit wider than most people. You're higher up than most people. You can take a curb and honestly, you won't even notice it. The truck eats up everything, whether it be on the road, off the road, or on a construction site. And yes, we do get to select our own gears. We don't have an actual sport mode, but apparently someone told me that you can turn off your traction control, put tow and haul mode, and that's a little bit of extra power, making the engine a little bit more peppy and more aggressive. Apparently. Allegedly. I read that in my comments section as I reviewed the base model of a truck like this. Not bad. Again, just because of the size and the weight, you do put like your power down a little bit better compared to the smaller, let's say the Charger, for example. The Charger has the exact same engine as this one, but that one struggles a lot when you try and pull down power because of all the torque. This one, was the extra weight of the body just weighing down on this thing, the traction is better. And if you don't want to lose traction, you can put it in 4x4 and you won't lose anything. But the thing I love about these Ram trucks is that over this time, I'm hearing a lot of things going on with Ford's transmissions, Ford having problems with their trucks. But Ram, they're just keeping it simple. The only like big thing that I keep hearing about Ford trucks, Ram trucks specifically, is that they have something called the HEMI tick, which honestly doesn't seem to affect this truck because we're almost at 80,000 kilometers. Just simple maintenance and oil changes, tires, you know, the works. And this truck hasn't given the owner any problems at all. And again, it's very, very simple. It's not that complicated to drive a truck this big. It might take some getting used to a little bit, but other than that, it's a very simple and very standard vehicle to drive. Nothing crazy, very simple. And again, the only reason I know that this one's like slightly more closer to the base model is that we have an extra seat here, which tells you that this thing was not really built for luxury. Mine was built more for convenience. That, oh, you have maybe 6 people you need to drive around and there's not enough space in the back seat, you're gonna slap someone up front here. So it just shows you the mentality they had. They wanted cloth seats because they're not easier to clean, but they're more affordable for most people. This truck is not even more retailing right now should be around $50,000 roughly. So again, not the most expensive truck out there, but convenient, and most people can afford it with an okay paying job. And yes, you do get some looks when you're driving a truck this big, especially in an area like this. We're like in the neighborhood area. If we go to see our gas mileage, you can tell our average was 16.8. So a truck like this really doesn't like to be in a residential area at all. It hates it, to say the least. So I'm gonna turn off my toll and haul and turn on my traction control and try and keep this truck in the most eco-friendly mode it can possibly have. But even then, the suspension is soft. I'm not talking German luxury cars levels of soft, but it's enjoyable to drive, especially in a residential area like this. Even though the road has some imperfections, you do feel them. But honestly, you can fall asleep while driving a truck like this. That's how comfortable it is and how roomy it is as well too. Not to talk about the space and the storage we have hidden around this entire place, like storage down here with USB-C ports and everything. We have Apple CarPlay, and I'm telling you, our sound system sounds excellent in this thing. There is really nothing to complain about in a truck like this. Unless you want to complain about gas mileage and how big and how annoying it is to park from time to time, which I do kind of get, but that comes with the territory. If you want a big truck like this, that's the price you gotta pay for a truck, especially something this big. And yes, we do sound good. This is the same engine in the RTs, so again, not too quick, but quick enough to get you into trouble. And if you really want to get out of trouble, I can see you getting out of trouble with a truck like this, to be honest. You have the same engine as most cops, even though theirs will be slightly upgraded. So yeah, you are kind of on equal playing field when it comes to horsepower and torque. Their advantage is they're gonna be in lighter cars, they have the numbers, and they have the coordination. So if you're gonna run from the cops in a truck like this, I pray that you're in an empty field somewhere you can cut all the lights, even though there's no point in me recommending it. No one is dumb enough to try and run from the cops in a truck. But then it brings me back to the Durango, because some of the Durango feels faster. So maybe it's the timing of the transmission, even though they all have pretty much the exact same materials, engines and transmissions and all that, using them. This one doesn't feel as sporty as the V8 Durango. Weird, right? Even though they have everything the same. But I guess it all just comes down to body, the body roll, and how this thing handles, to say the very, very least. And we'll almost call it a day. That is my final and only thoughts on the truck like this. Yeah, video was kind of short, but there really isn't too much I can do right now. But anyway guys, take care. This has been Morty, and peace.